strong early ganking jungler taken away here. Fnatic looking at potentially another jungle pick early to put some more pressure on Move, because that is a matchup we need to track here. Move versus Spirit. So many stories to tell about this one. Move struggling to get efficient jungle pathing, kind of over trying to gank some lanes, but the wrong side of the map, you know, not really feeling the pace of the game. Whereas Spirit, in the game versus H2K, he tried to force a style, in my opinion, that can work, which is the group up with your bot lane and siege a turret. But just as they got close enough to finishing that tower off, that's when things always went wrong for Fnatic. So I need to see if Fnatic follow that same style today, or if she shift gears completely and follow perhaps what the desk was saying and play more around mid lane.
Yeah, I would think Unicorn's bottom lane probably aren't quite as accustomed to the 2v3 as Forgiven and Vander, but that's a story for another time. As Vladimir's taken off the board, as we expected, this was going to be something that was going to go very quickly, if not in the ban phase in the picks.
Yeah, but most teams on blue side usually ban 3 mid lane champions against Exileh here. Fnatic opening with the Elise ban is already straying from that, which means Exileh gets some sort of comfort champion, hopefully, for the Unicorns.
The Braum ban comes through. That's interesting.
Taking away some of the few champions that YellowStaR has had like a good showing up. One of major things that lack in YellowStaR champion pool rather is the Bard pick, a pick that Fnatic themselves ban very often. It's within their top 2 bans here. Like most Fnatic bans has been Vladimir and Bard that they taken away off the board, whereas Unicorns kind of have Bard banned against them very often. So that might be a pick that gets through.
Yep. Well, one pick that definitely doesn't get through is that Nidalee we talked about. That's banned away. So Fnatic take away 2 junglers here from Unicorn's side. And by the way, those are both the junglers the Unicorns used yesterday.
Looks like Spirit almost has to be leaning towards the Rekkles side then, I imagine, as a potential first pick. Unicorns can't really ban out one of the junglers here, so it's almost guaranteed that Spirit gets his jungler of choice, and Unicorns have to react, unless there's a bigger power pick like Sivir open and then they just straight junglers. But because Sivir's off the board right now, what they're going to do is, you know what, we just take the faster pacing jungler with, honestly, a more consistent path to the game. Usually you see Rekkles pull ahead of a Gragas in the jungle CS differential, and if not, you have more creative pathing with those tunnels. Really annoying to deal with that.
So for Unicorns, the Shen, of course, we don't normally talk too much about the hovers, but this is something that's a Unicorn special. It is so necessary to a lot of their success utilizing those globals, and it wouldn't be a surprise to see Chachi pick that up on the first rotation, denying it from Kikis as well. Move could fall back on something like the Gragas. He's clearly had a lot less success on it, but if the Unicorns can get themselves some winning lanes, they may not need a jungle matchup that Move is comfortable on.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to pick up that yet. They could just pick up a comfort 80 carry here, match it later with a support. I do like the Tahm Kench early if they lock it in, because it means they can still play Ashe later on. It means Fnatic can't play Ashe themselves, because we've seen in competitive play how hard it is to play and land those arrows, because whenever you hit somebody, Tahm Kench will eat them, which means you kind of have to go for a pick on the support in mid to late game. Just really doesn't work. So it's kind of a blocker of one of the conventional AD carries. It allows you to play some of the riskier AD carry picks like Jhin 2 later on, because you can always, you know, just gobble him up and spit him out. And this first rotation Shen Tahm Kench is honestly a good foundation for the Unicorns to build on. They do really well with a global in the top lane.
Yeah, not to mention semi-global in the support, and they have a lot of ways to protect their carries, Exileh and Veritas, despite whatever they may pick for them. It'll be interesting to see how Fnatic responds, if it's going to be with some more firepower.
I mean, I expect, because the Ashe is being blocked here, quote-unquote, by the Tahm Kench, a GP Jhin rotation would make so much sense. You can still cater your support to it later on once the enemy AD carry is revealed. And Gangplank is just a traditional kind of meta counter pick into Shen. He can farm there. He can match the global with another global. In terms of team comp, it also allows you to play, because you can really make good picks with kind of shutting off the back end of a team fight with the GP ulti, and then having Jhin follow up, you know, with Deadly Flourish, or worst case, just pop the curtain call, and you have good peel by the Rekkles side. The only risk is if the Shen lands a flash taunt.
Yeah, gotta be careful there. Rekkles has had not as much success on Jhin this split, 5 games and only 1 victory, compared to what we saw early in the spring when he was one of the first to actually pick it up. So this should prompt the Unicorns of Love to take the Ashe pick.
Yeah, the pick and ban kind of plays out itself. If you look at Veritas' most played champion, it's like Ashe, Sivir, Ezreal. Obviously, Ezreal you can always pick, but it's not really that strong of a meta pick here. Ashe Tahm Kench has a pretty oppressive laning phase too, and it ruins the Trundle counter. Usually you can pick a Trundle in the likes of like Sivir or an Ashe and punish that low mobility, but because of Tahm Kench, if Ashe is stuck between a wall and a pillar, you can just devour it, spit it out, and it'll keep going.
This would be an interesting change-up as the timer ticks down. They clearly want to save their mid lane pick for last. That makes a lot of sense considering they want Exileh to be put in a powerful position to be able to counter Febiven. And that Tristana is locked in. That's a lot of firepower now on Unicorn's side. As long as they can scale that one up, Tristana just wrecks through towers. Yeah,
but then we got to look at YellowStaR. Is he just going to play the Karma here? Go for a standard Karma Jhin lane. Because if you look at Braum taking off the board, YellowStaR, then what is he going to play? A Nami doesn't really sound like YellowStaR anymore.
I mean, he could pick like the LCS or something, but it doesn't make a lot of sense in the Tahm Kench, does it?
LCS has like negative lane pressure. In this lane, you might be having to be a little bit careful. So it's likely going to be the Karma support here coming out. And then they need to find one more piece in the puzzle in the mid lane. What is Fnatic going to pick up for Febiven?
Another pick for YellowStaR, possibly maybe the Trundle.
Yeah, it's playable, but it's harder in the Tahm Kench matchup because you can't punish Tristana at all because she'll just jump out, and in the odd chance that you are Mad Life and you stop to jump with the pillar, she just gets devoured anyways.
What are the chances of Mad Life in your EOS server experiences?
I mean,
we'll talk it now. Never mind. We got Taliyah and Bard. Okay.
Pick that actually usually is higher priority in the mid lane. People have gone as far as just first picking it too. If you look over in different regions like the LPL, an incredibly potent pusher to Taliyah, it's almost impossible to find a pick that can match it. But the bigger surprise for me, and this is not because like Crepple talks about Bard, is the fact that YellowStaR is the person that picks up this Bard. We've seen lackluster performances from him on the champion. We've seen him shy away from when it was a really good pick in the team comp, and he did not have the experience on the champion to play it. Yet now, he apparently has been practicing champion, or so we hope.
Yeah, well, I mean, when things are pinched a little bit too, and he's not having the options he's used to, it looks like he's going towards it. Fnatic, we haven't seen this team for 3 weeks, so you know, we don't know what kind of hyperbolic time chamber they've been training in. We'll have to see if it pays dividends as Exileh locks in the Kassadin as the last pick.
Kassadin to Taliyah, really dangerous for Taliyah later on. She can get singled out. This is going to be a really big challenge for YellowStaR because playing this Bard into these picks is incredibly hard. To lock down a Kassadin is almost impossible. Any target you hit will get devoured, so the only way you kind of play him is you time the Bard Q on Tahm Kench as he is forced to spit out whoever he has inside him, so you get the instant double stun. But that is so timing specific that it's almost impossible to do consistently. And against the likes of Shen too, it's really hard to punish or make pickoffs. So we will finally get a true test for YellowStaR in Game 1.
Yes, we will. Have to see if he passes that one. He's been studying for about the longest out of anybody here. Fnatic, they will need every ounce of that if they can take a win here. If not, the Unicorns will be marching on to face against Splice. But it is only, of course, the first game.
Yeah, both compositions will be running the 1-3-1 in the mid game here. The only exception being that Taliyah will not be running teleport when she's on a side lane, but she's hyper mobile with that ulti, can join. But hopefully we get to see improved macro because we've seen it lacking a little bit from both teams. But to truly play these comps, you need to nail the 1-3-1.
You absolutely do. Now the champs are locked in, the players are ready. Let's get on to the rift for Game 1 between Fnatic and the Unicorns of Love.
We will show a lot different than what we did versus HJK. Like, we will come really strong because people don't even expect us to win versus Unicorns.
We've played Fnatic before, and I don't think they're that good of a team. We can beat them. It will be hard, but I think we can beat them.
Now's about the time to put up or shut up. The crowd is definitely not going to be tired of making noise after this. Fnatic, Unicorns of Love on the rift, and wouldn't you know it, Infernal Drake, as if it wasn't going to get bloody enough.
Yeah, always a good catalyst for contention around those objectives. The Infernal Drake, the prized possession of all the pro players. I like it even more than the Mountain Drake.
Ooh. Move has got to do just that, starting things off. Febiven wants a bit of harass. He's only able to tag him on the backside just to start things off.
Yeah, Hylissang here with the help of Vizicsacsi because he has no thing to do there. A little bit of poke, just taking control. It's important for Veritas and Hylissang that they get control of the brush early, either by being there or having a ward. So if they like to do a camp, so that they don't get cheesed on their way back out. If not, they just play the lane early. It's doubtful that Rekkles and YellowStaR will end up taking that camp. Hylissang is just going to check to be sure. So there's a lot of information ready now for the Unicorns. So they should know what kind of cheese they could run into or counterplay in the bot lane. In mid, something we need to track is whether Febiven is going for the conventional strategy, which is just hard push and then challenge the enemy Raptors. That's something we've seen evolve on the 615 meta, where champions like Taliyah, they like to go in, push the first wave, and then get some Raptors. Febiven's actually leaning to the left side of mid. Maybe he wants to do it earlier than the first wave.
Let's see. Move, I mean, he's had some trouble going up against quite a lot of junglers here in the European LCS. Febiven is definitely hanging around towards that top side.
Yeah, he's taking care of the range creeps first because they do the most damage in minion battles. So if you can get them low first, it's actually really easy for you to push. Look, 4 creeps to remain, so Exileh will have to last hit them on their tower. So Febiven's gonna move to the enemy Raptors right now. Let's see how many he can take away from the opposing jungler. So he wards 2. Look where the Gragas started on a ward. Febiven gets 2 of these Raptors in total. And more importantly, Fnatic right now have complete information on the jungle pathing from Move. He started on Krugs, was spotted, got a new ward on the red buff, and let's see if Spirit is going to use that information to maybe challenge on blue buff, or go for a conventional fast clear, leaving the blue buff available, and hand it over to Febiven later on.
All eyes will be on Spirit in that early game. That is for sure. So Febiven continuing to push out here. Exileh, of course, on this casting is going to have a little bit of a hard time pre-6 to fight it out. He is staying safe and sound, though, for the time being, close under tower.
Yeah, but he's doing something most Castans don't really do. He's using Q to last it. Very often, Castan players would use the Q to basically say, you know what, trade it on the enemy while I'm getting poked. I will then stay sustained. So he's favoring CS for sustainability. We see the map being divided here, and honestly, as much as we criticize Move on his jungle pathing, he's doing a good thing here. He knows Rekkles is invading. He spotted the invade, and he's going for his own blue buff. However, if Fabianche finds out here, and he does, Move is in big trouble.
Yeah, he doesn't have a whole lot of mana either, and he doesn't have much of a health bar left, so Febiven is going to chase him away. Nomming on the biscuit already, forcing the dash.
Oh, but this is really good team play from Fnatic as a unit. Together they worked, and they got deep information in the enemy jungle. They found out where Gragas was. They tracked his pathing. They forced him to adapt and counterplay the invade, and he just went blind into enemy jungle. He didn't have any jungle camps to return to on the top side of the map, so he had to return to base on level 2. And that is honestly really good team play, but it all started with Fnatic Febiven pushing in the mid lane, you know, constantly pressuring Exileh, punishing this low wave clear or low duelist potential pre-6 Kassadin.
Yep, Kikis though, he's in a little bit of trouble. Does still hold on to his flash, nothing Chachi could do to finish the punish on that. But yeah, Spirit is taking it all away. He's getting deep wards in on Unicorn's side of the map. Move is just going to be tracked this whole game.
Yeah, and that little ward power that you just pointed out, that now faded, that was on Wolves, it just gives you information. Now you see the enemy jungle there, which means you know he's coming to contest you, and if you don't see him, that's probably what prompted Febiven to go for the blue buff challenge. It's like, this Gragas is supposed to be on Wolves right now, he is not. Well, there's only one other place on the map he could be, which is on enemy blue, and that's where Move is looking to return again. But this is where Move, this is how he is forced to fall behind the CS, because he's going for a gank.
Ooh, quick flash out of Kikis. He saw that one coming, but it's still going to get followed forward for first blood over to Move.
And that's, yeah, that's Kikis. Little risky. Little mistake right there.
Was a
that's
pixel.
Move back in the game right there.
Yep.
Because he was so afraid. He was so afraid to path into the enemy jungle blind. If he got punished one more time, he'd be in big, big trouble. He risked it all on that one gank, and it paid off. And suddenly the entire narrative, Fnatic out pressuring, punishing Move in the early game, is null and void. Because we're bang on even.
Speaking of void, the Caston's starting to catch right back up in farm versus Febiven. Just had that healthy wave shoved right into him. He will be able to secure his blue buff, something that was, of course, denied to Exileh. But Exile's getting close to level 6. He shouldn't have too much trouble the longer this game goes. It's, you know, a little bit of plays here back and forth, but UOL, with that one fell swoop, kind of evened it back up.
Yeah, stylistically a much different Spirit than we've seen in the early rounds of playoffs. Obviously a completely different champion, Rekkles versus Nidalee, but on that Nidalee he was hovering around bot lane with the main objectives being the brick first tower. Here he is just, has his eyes set on Move. Honestly, he's making his life a living hell in unison with Febiven continuously pushing out. Febiven now granted that blue buff too. Bot lane seems to be pretty even farm matchup.
Yep.
Tristana's very happy if she can even farm in this matchup.
Yeah, this is actually really solid for Veritas. Yep. And we haven't seen him play this champion either. This is a lot of variety for Veritas. It's kind of grown quite a lot over the split. You can see it right there. Is 13 unique 80 carries in. You know, and honestly, the meta has kind of, we didn't plan that at all, by the way. The meta has kind of like not allowed as much variety in the 80 carry role over the year.
Yeah, but that makes you wonder. There's a point where variety is good, and then there's
one of those is Urgot. Yeah.
Yeah, there's an Urgot. There's I think a Vayne in there too. So at one point, you have to question: is this a champion pool, or is it just desperately looking for an answer? However, 615 Tristana is a somewhat meta pick. She's a little lower on the tier list, but she's definitely viable.
Yeah.
Oh, good stun.
Nice stun there. Meep slaps. YellowStaR's there. Spirit's hanging around. He's spotted, but he's going to go on a tunnel on in. Push back very quickly. Veritas still has to be careful. No more biscuits to nom.
Yeah, but even though they see him, it's so annoying to play against, because look what Febiven's doing. He's leaning into the Fog of War. In the mid lane, there's river control, every time Febiven's pushing, look where he's positioned on the minimap.
Uh-oh.
He's as close as you can be in front of tower range, which gives Spirit the liberty to invade. Usually, if you're a Spirit here, you're caught. Like, the enemy mid laner will come and jump on you, but because Febiven's playing this far up, he's leaning towards the right side constantly, so if Move is not around bot side, Febiven and Spirit will work together as a team and just dive the bot enemy 2v2. And now, the unrelenting pressure here is really working in Fnatic's favor.
Yeah, Febiven able to push back Exileh. Nearly got him on that one, but in goes Veritas for the jump and exhaust on to Rekkles. YellowStaR keeps trying to turn around. And Hylissang looking for a jump. He does get it onto Rekkles. Can he spit him out? The Shenholt's coming. Rekkles is out of the magical journey, and so is YellowStaR. Chatchi follows. That might not be the best decision he's made all day, and Rekkles takes him down.
When somebody offers you a free trip in the journey, at least consider if it's worth taking here. Chatchi immediately opts in and pays the price for that, and look at how happy Kikis is with that. He was down over 17 CS right now. He's catching a Febiven roaming down.
He's got the wall on too. Move is going to dash over it, but Veritas and Hylissang are not so lucky. Exhaust onto Hylissang, but maybe now it's Febiven's turn to fall. Here he's trying. He can't. The flash over the wall back to join his team, but he bit off more than he could chew in that engagement.
Yeah, some solid portals there by YellowStaR working together as a unit. They almost got punished when they were pushing up too far and there was miscommunication. YellowStaR was moving into the river and Rekkles was kind of dealing with that wave. That's what prompted it. Look at here. YellowStar's moving into river. Rekkles should never be here. Yes, it sucks that your support's not there, but you should always have communication there. Hylissang flash Q, waits for a little bit, not an auto attack, and then gobbles him up. Really good spacing out of abilities. But then a beautiful portal from YellowStaR. Rekkles, I think, flashes into it, and Vizicsacsi. Come on, bro.
Yeah, not recommended. Not that portal. Good ultimate out of Kikis too. Kind of contribute to the whole effort. Veritas going very low and Hylissang as well.
And that's the power of that gangplank in the Shen matchup. You don't need to physically join that party. You can just send a cannon barrage and keep farming. He was behind from that early exchange. Now, Move is waiting for the counter game, but he's only level 5. Remember, Fnatic did a great job putting him down, so if there was an explosive cast in this fight, Febiven will be dead, but Move is kind of awkwardly stuck across the wall, which allows Febiven to survive. Move still on level 5 due to joint teamwork from Spirit and Febiven. So all these kind of incremental leads procured by Fnatic have been team plays. Pushing mid, invade jungle, you know, top falls behind. You know what, how do you get back? Well, force the Shen to go bottom, and then now the Gangplank is farming better. He's still 20 CS down somehow, but imagine what it would have been if the Shen was continuously present in the top lane.
Yeah. The Unicorns, by their token, have really only done it in the individual plays. Move securing that first blood off the one big play that he kind of needed just to get back in the game. Spirit's still taking away his jungle. Hylissang will try to head him off in it, but you know, he's already lost out on the blue buff. Move's coming just a smidgen too late and realizes there's nothing for him.
Yeah, every time he walks into his jungle, something's taken away. And every time he looks at the minimap, Febiven is leaning towards the side that Spirit is invading on. Even if you don't see Spirit, you can probably guess where he is based on how Febiven is playing. YellowStaR with some portals already ready to join that fight too. Any pick off in the jungle can happen with the Tempered Fate too. Unicorns, however, they're waiting for this Kassadin pick to start scaling. Later on, level 11, level 9, you can jump onto Leah and do a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, not to mention this Tristana can do much the same. They can start to shred down those towers. Exileh does get a bit of damage out onto Febiven. Spirit's there to back him up with the double buffs. And Exileh goes in, might regret that decision. He's knocked up, has to flash away. And he should have the Rift Walk out. Spirit still chasing him down. Gonna make him work for it. The Prey Seeker could do enough damage. He just needs one more shot. Spirit does not have that flash, but nonetheless, Chatchi is taking no chances here. And now Move goes in, throws the barrel, knocks Febiven, flashes for the auto, and finishes the job. Exileh has to be careful now as he's out.
Oh, that feels bad, man. If you're Fnatic right there, so close to killing Exileh. Move, really good spacing out the combo. The awareness that the flash was obviously down on Febiven in the earlier skirmish. Spirit says, you know what, I'm just going to keep farming. This is the 11th game in the season where Spirit is up more than 15 CS of his opponent at the 10-minute mark. That's honestly really impressive. He is, when he gets his game going, he's such a good pacing jungler who mixes in ganks with efficient farming, and that's his style, but he needs mid laners to push for him. He needs his team to play around that, and right now, he's done farming. He's looking for a dive.
He's mixing it in one more time. Chatchi's almost got no health left. He's going to have to flash. Oh, nice! To get him out of danger.
Well played by Chatchi. That's actually much harder than it looks because you have to guess, is he going to unpower immediately or just...
He's going in still. Exileh's around. So they saved this tower from a lot more damage. Yeah, Chatchi just made that one look easy.
Yeah, and they saved the farm, more importantly, too, and the experience. Really important that these Unicorns picks keep scaling here, get to level 11, get access to their better ultimates here, especially Exileh. Because when the jungler is on the same level as enemy mid laner, something went wrong.
Clearly that's the case. Febiven's going to get himself another blue buff. Not much Move can do, even though he was moving to stop it, and turns right around 180. Throws down the ward, though. Nonetheless, we're at about 12 minutes into this game. Still a gold lead in favor of Fnatic, but Unicorns have been firing back. And as you said, they're biding their time. They're waiting for those power spikes to come in, and they do have a ridiculous composition for when those levels hit.
Late game, there's still plenty of damage, though, on Fnatic. Let's not underrate that. Gently, a Gangplank can win fights, too, if they're positioned right. But there's assassination potential. There's really good outplay potential in terms of 1v1 on the Unicorns. However, the draft has given Fnatic two controlling matchups. We could say winning in mid lane. In bot lane, the CS was even for a while prior to the dive, but the way we describe matchups nowadays is not about who truly beats them in CS, it's about who has access to the push. And Fnatic have been continuously pushing bot lane for the majority and mid lane for the entirety of the game, which means Spirit now has two lanes that he can invade in between of. And that is exactly what he's been leveraging and just punishing Move for.
Yeah. Move's still been able to get a little bit of gold back in his pocket, mostly thanks to the couple of kills he's procured. And, you know, it's still worth mentioning, this Infernal Drake on the board. Teams tend to not rush the Dragons down so much anymore, but if a big fight goes awry for either team, that's going to be the 8% AD and AP that, you know, both teams will want come the late game especially.
Oh, this Dragon can definitely be a catalyst for big gold swing in this game. Hence the caution. Unicorns are definitely not one team that's going to start it, but they could catch Fnatic there. Imagine if they're doing Dragon, they jump, or they kind of group up, and Cassin plus piggyback Shen comes in swinging. Suddenly your Talia's gone because she's low mobility, and Fnatic's in trouble. That's why they're hesitant. They're just taking away things of Unicorns, like small objectives, like a couple of jungle camps here, some vision, denying them some CS because they have to be careful because of Fog of War. That's the game Fnatic's playing right now.
See it right there. Spirit goes in, clears the ward, throws down the pink, and puts one in the back of the pit, too. They want to make sure the Unicorns aren't going to be the ones rushing it down themselves. Kikis still held here under tower, 20 CS and some change down. But look at how healthy he's been able to keep that tower. The Gangplank barrels just keep on flowing.
Yeah. And that's the difference here. Yes, he's pressured. He's low HP continuously, but there's no chip damage on that turret. Shen is never going to hit that over and over. There's no aggression generally on the bot side of the map or all-ins because people are so afraid of the Shen ulti. So it's more of a pressure game. Yeah,
not to mention, Kikis just needs to kind of hang out there until he gets himself his Trinity Force. He's 2/3 of the way there. He's got some pretty fast shoes, so he can definitely take himself a run if he needs to. And, you know, it's still a waiting game for both the teams, but not without some action. A few mistakes here and there, but for the most part, I'm liking what both teams are doing. Fnatic are still holding the line. They're still pushing farther, though.
Yeah, Fnatic have honestly, they've identified a clear win condition in the early game, which is challenge the enemy jungle. Look at Spirit, you know, a level and a half up right now on Move, continuously challenging these blue buffs that Cassin so desperately needs. Like, look where he is. There's 3 dots around him in proximity, but now YellowStaR and Rekkles are joining, and there's obviously Smite available here on Spirit, so he doesn't care that he gets invoke, and he can always escape with Magical Journey. This, however, if only a couple of fractions of a second later, Cassin will be there, Gragas will be there, so these are risky plays by Fnatic, but they're working, and we see Fnatic finally working as a team again.
Yeah, this is definitely paying off for them, despite the fact that they are taking these risks. And you know, it's kind of what you need to do. And a lot of times against a team that may not necessarily have the best vision in their own jungle, Unicorns have been pushed back time and time again.
Yeah, and it shows you the risk of drafting losing lanes. Usually this is something we fall Fnatic for, but they're really leveraging the push that they have in the bot and mid lane. Like, if they're not pushing, then Rekkles and YellowStaR can't move first. Like, they push in the wave in the tower, they're freed up for like 10-15 seconds, moving in the sister jungle, and then Rek'Sai can return and then farm his own jungle or add more pressure. Fnatic could push up the ward line too. His minion wave is gone, and right now Veritas and Hylissang, they need to farm it in the tower.
And Spirit's coming.
They could peel away, or they could straight up dive. Remember, there's still Shen ulti available. That ward is a TP ward though. It's supposed to kind of zone. It's there to tell Unicorns, guys, please back off from the tower. There's a teleport coming.
And even Febiven has joined here. They are going to clear away the last of the wave, but that tower has definitely taken a beating. Move is hanging around here. There's vision for both teams on top of this dragon. Fnatic are eyeballing it to see if they can get this one started. They don't have the sweep just yet available. They're not going to go in here. They don't know it, and they are seeing if they can bait Move in, but Exileh is also there to tag in. Will he jump onto Spirit? Not without any more backup than that. They're actually going to turn their attention towards mid instead.
Yeah, good defense there from Unicorns. They did not get scared by the impending teleport, knowing that they had the Stand United available. There was a ward in the pit, so Move didn't get corner baited to try and check, you know, is Dragon being started? What's the HP? Do I need to be hero? Then Exileh pushing the wave first.
He's going to be an hero.
Prompted Fnatic to kind of retweet and reset the play here.
Yes, indeed. Spirit goes in on to Move. Doesn't get stopped up by the Deadly Flourish, but he was out and safe. Fnatic just aren't taking any particular risks here. You can see YellowStaR, he's getting the magical journeys up ahead of time this time, so he's really working.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder why he didn't pick up this Bard a lot sooner.
Probably because he couldn't do it much sooner. You know, it's a champion that has a pretty steep skill curve. Requires a lot of attention
from a few casters.
I can't blame it anymore. I'm boosted Diamond 1. But yeah, it's a beauty because it changes the way you can approach fights. Like you can push on the tower just 2 seconds longer. Instead of having to back off, you take a journey out. When you're getting chased down, people always have in their minds that like there's a route to the left and to the right, and in the middle is a big giant rock that you can't pass. Well, Magical Journey solves that problem for you. Right now, Fnatic are looking to pull a trigger somewhere on a play, but Unicorns have done a fantastic job defending. Remember we were talking about a rather large 1.5k gold lead early. It's still that same amount here. So relatively speaking, it means less and less. And we've seen 160 CS on this Kassadin. Exileh is definitely scaling into the game. Unicorns are becoming more confident.
Yeah. Despite the fact that Fnatic have been able to get pretty much every outer tower down to about half its health or lower, it hasn't really paid off for them just because, you know, it doesn't count until you knock it down and collect the gold. They haven't gone to the bank yet, so it hasn't done anything for them.
Fans, though, favoring Fnatic
they're
here.
always favoring Fnatic. I mean, the Unicorns got themselves some dedicated fans, but Fnatic surely have the numbers. And Exileh, he goes in, doubles back, and there's a flash out of Febiven. Now they're looking for Spirit, throwing the barrel. Chachi comes a second too late. Spirit burned his flash.
Yeah, but there's a flash burn on Febiven and Spirit, which means the next time the Unicorns try this trick, it'll hit here. Hylissang,
they're going
where's
bot.
he going? Bot lane.
Oh, that was real quick. Rekkles, he's going to have to hot-foot it out of there. He's got flash, he's got heal, and then, Bardo comes in, stops it for just a few seconds, but in comes Veritas. Rekkles is surrounded, and even though Veritas goes low, they get the kill. Exileh chasing down, and he just needs one more shot onto Febi. Will he get it? Yes!
Oh, picks galore in the bot lane. Kikis punishes by taking a tower. Vizicsacsi had to walk all the way top. He still has teleport available to match Kikis' globals. No cannon barrage was used there. The two really good pickups by the Unicorns, and they want more here.
Yep, Spirit's hanging around. Hylissang surrounding him. There goes the Gangplank ulti. A teleport coming in on the last of it. It is going to be spent by Chachi. He cancels it. Wise at that point. No more sense when there's no many waves available.
All right, but there's a lot of farm that went towards Fnatic in this game, because despite having a 3-kill lead, they're still vastly behind in gold here. Mostly because while they were hunting kills on the side of Unicorns, Fnatic had the first tower here, and that's something that got introduced on 614, where you have a lot more bonus gold early. Kikis, or Spirit rather.
Ooh, that was a tense moment here. He does get stopped and stunned. He's going to get the knockup, but he just doesn't have the damage. Chomped on by Hylissang, who claims the kill for himself. And just shy of 20 minutes here, Unicorns have gone up 5 kills to 1, and they pick up Infernal.
Yeah, and now they're happy. And that entire sequence had more of a feeling of a Unicorns versus Fnatic game, because historically, their games have been much more bloody.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you look back in history, right now, Unicorns, all time, 6 to 8 games, right? But they've had so many more kills and deaths in all of their games. And this is why. Take a look at this fight right down by.
Yeah, it was just a good move on the back of the mid lane play. I don't think Fnatic just wasn't thinking about the Tahm Kench ulti having, honestly, that big of a range. There's only 2 targets for the bar queue. 3 enemy members here. Exileh hunting down Febiven without a flash. That's obviously, if you can punish them once they get their flash down, then you need to capitalize in the next 5 minutes. And Febiven kind of got lost in rotation. He knows he messed up. Should never happen. You should never get caught by casting in your jungle. But then perhaps it's the fault of the bot lane for overextending. You know, while we were praising Fnatic earlier for working together as a unit, they were suffering, and right now this is part 2 of the engage.
There we go. They've taunted onto Febiven. Exileh takes him down. Hylissang came in for good measure, and there it is.
Febiven's flash is halfway through, and there's already been 2 punishes on the flash list mid laner here for Fnatic. Such a good early game with the unrelenting pushing in the mid lane. But Unicorns, they bided their time. They held fast. And right now they're firing back.
Ooh, that's a lot of damage on YellowStaR and Hylissang. Chomps up Veritas, make sure he wasn't the target of any more aggression. YellowStaR will have to back away. Spirit and Rekkles holding on to that line in mid lane, still hanging on to that gold lead, but now the Unicorns have started to fan out, clear some waves.
Yeah, fanning out here. Initiate protocol 131. Who's in the mid lane? It's the jungler, the AD carry, and the support. And then you have your double teleports with some gap closers on the side lane. So you want the Shen to maybe join with Stand United. He's obviously going to be on the bottom side since most of the action is around top side. You want Fnatic, or you want rather Kassadin to be able to join these Baron skirmishes, you know, have punishes. You want Shen on the long lane because he has 2 globals to join. So Unicorns doing the correct lane assignments. see if Fnatic can withhold this pressure.
It's good timing for the Unicorns as well. Their teleports are both right about to come up. Chachi's, in fact, has already done that. Febiven is here doing a good job pushing the wave back, though. They are holding their towers, and honestly, that's making all the gold difference right now.
Yeah, he's holding, but they still need to be careful. Once Stand United is available later on, or even teleport from Vizicsacsi, it could be an easy 5v4 controlled on the top side of the map, because Febiven, look where he's hovering. He has to always catch the wave second.
Oh, Exile.
Because he needs to be ready to...
Oh, how much HP? Doesn't matter.
0.
Oh, Kikis chasing him down.
I went and checked for you, Pyra. 0 HP left on Exile.
No time to chat.
To die in this matchup as Kassadin with Flash available is a grave error here, but a fantastic punish from Kikis, and it breaks the lock, it breaks the hold the Unicorns had on the map here, because they were looking for a play when Stand United becomes available to really just go all in on the top side. Fnatic, they find a window of opportunity to punish before that becomes available. Now Unicorns are the ones on the back foot. Look, it entirely changes this bot lane matchup, where Febiven was so afraid to aggressively push out because he always had to be ready to use his wall to join mid or top fights. Fnatic is never going to run into that fight anymore, so now they can push out bottom lane a little bit more and play with some more pressure.
Yeah, so Fnatic get to wipe the sweat off the brow for just a little bit. They're back in the driver's seat, a couple thousand gold still in the lead as we hit 23 minutes into this game. I hadn't talked as much about the next Dragon. It's Ocean, still valuable for the teams in these prolonged fights. They're going to want it for the after effects for sure. Let's take a look at how this all happened, though. Exile runs smack dab into the barrel.
All right. That's 1, 2.
That's 2.
Oh, he jumps in.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, wrong direction. This is not a one-way street, Exile. You can go both ways, and that's honestly... Yeah, going in for that duel at this point against the Gangplank 1-over-1 without any armor on you is... miscalculation? Oops.
Yeah, it happens from time to time. So Exile hopefully has learned from that one. First death for him of the game. But he's back on the map, and they've sent Chachi up in his stead to the top side while he goes down bottom. Unfortunately, Kikis is also there.
Yeah, they're looking to have the Kassadin match with Talia. That's why Unicorns are sending Shen to top lane. Despite him being better on bot lane, they really want Exile being able to punish Febiven. And Vizicsacsi has a much easier time holding that Gangplank. Because what Kikis did to Exile, he can't do Vizicsacsi. Yes, Febiven's suffering here, but it's about finding a lane where you're suffering the least.
Oh boy, Curtain Call is on, but Rekkles is going to have to cancel it right on up, and Spirit is in the mix between all three members. They throw down the Tempered Fate, but that'll be only a couple more seconds. Exile chasing YellowStaR away, and Spirit is going to be left for dead. Move picks him up as Exile pops himself right back into the cannon barrage, but it is not enough damage to take him down. 1 for none, Unicorns.
1 for none.
I think the manager's a bit mad.
Yeah, those are contact lenses, don't worry. You need to
Pink
check
than
out.
usual.
Yeah, he pinked himself out.
Oh, YellowStar's wishing he pinked right now. Has to take the magical journey.
Nice to go out. We missed the setup of that. Was it an aggression from Fnatic being punished? But Exile coming out of base with teleport. I think Stand United was used because it seems to be on a very short cooldown, which means Shen used it and then got cancelled by Febiven, or maybe, yeah, it must have been cancelled by Febiven.
So he won't have that available for a little while. Unicorns, however, are doubling up here as they go down towards the bottom side. See if they can cut off Kikis. In goes Veritas. Kikis does not have his flash. Exhaust on him. Another hop forward, and Hylissang gets the kill.
Yeah. Bloodthirsty support.
Yeah.
Doa would be proud.
I mean, he's pretty hungry all the time, from what I hear. YellowStar's going to get caught up right in the middle of nowhere, barreled into Veritas, who shoots him down. 2-0-2 on the Tristana. All of a sudden, Unicorns are gaining map control all over the place.
Yeah, this is something we were talking about earlier in the game. Yes, when they ramp up, they can make these picks, you know, gap goals or jumps. You have the Tahm Kench ultimate starting in the mid lane. It's a really potent ability, so it's one of the best supports to run in 1-3-1 compositions because you can join side lanes. Any member here of the Unicorns can show up in another lane honestly instantaneously with teleports on Exile, jumps on Exile. You have Vizicsacsi double global, and then you have the Tahm Kench with kind of a built-in semi-global if you do it from the mid lane. And Unicorns are using that to the full effect to really punish this disjointed Fnatic in the mid game.
Yeah, they get themselves an Ocean Drake. Finally, they get a first turret of the game. They've been working at it for some time, but Unicorns, just with that, the gold gap is significantly closed. Unicorns, they have the momentum game right now. Fnatic are going to have to respond.
Yeah, and with these tier 1 turrets falling, it's a nice little gold boon for Fnatic, but it does open up the maps, and then this is something that the desk was talking about. You always need to draft one winning side lane. If both of them are losing and being pushed in, 1-3-1 becomes incredibly hard to deal with. So they're looking to lean on Kikis to hopefully win his side lane. The problem is there's so much punish. Even if Kikis manages to push, There's a Tahm Kench that can come up behind him. There's a teleport from the other side laner that can happen.
And you just need to look at some of these scores to see which way this game is going. Move, despite the fact that he was held so far back on farm, he's got 3 kills. He's got no deaths. He's been able to get in there and get some gold back for himself. The mid lane, Exile's died once. We saw how that one happened, but he's still starting to scale up. He's decently ahead on gold versus this Taliyah. And the same thing's true for Veritas versus Rekkles in the bottom. Gold's even there, but the score tells a different story.
Yeah, score tells a slightly different story here. Fnatic, they're looking for a more denser mid game where they put more members in the center of the map because they know if they play the split game, they're going to lose out. So they're desperately looking for a Bard ultimate here or Prey Seeker into Deadly Flourish combo, so really to lock people up here and engage. The problem is time is ticking right now. Unicorns, both side lanes are being pushed in.
Yeah, and you can see Fnatic's lead just evaporating as Unicorns is able to take the swing, continue to push forward. Exile's going to get some help. Kikis, he still has to use his flash, but it's followed over by Exile. He's going to jump in, Riftwalk, Oranges. I don't know if this one's going to be K. It's Exile taking him out.
Kikis tried. Good flash timing really on the moment or the frame that Vizicsacsi drops down. But remember, Vizicsacsi still had flash available. So not only do the Unicorns get the kill, they communicate who is going to expend his flash to land at CC, because he definitely was in taunt flash range for a while. And this is it, you know, this is the 1-3-1 working out. Kikis cannot put sustaining pressure on one of the side lanes. Taliyah can't put the pressure on the other side. And once a member drops, Unicorns have numbers advantage here. And there's still one more teleport available. So Unicorns playing their comp to perfection in the mid game because they survived the early game. You can't state that enough. There was really solid gameplay from Fnatic early, but they failed to push it through and punish in the mid game.
As a result, the Unicorns have not only caught back up, they've got themselves in the lead, and with that last hit, Vizicsacsi secures the 3rd turret for Unicorns. They've been knocking them down like a wrecking ball, and unfortunately for Fnatic, nothing they're able to wreck here. It's 2,000 gold deficit for them.
Yeah. They're looking to sneak some wards in that Dragon, or Baron rather. That's going to be the next objective here for the Unicorns. They hopefully bring some pink wards to the party. And look at their inventory, look at that pyre. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, that's a sign of a good team. They're communicating well. They're making sure they've got all the bases covered,
Yeah,
and all the jungle as well.
Probably told by their manager, anything pink is good, guys. Buy them pink wards.
Ah, that's the Unicorn strat. I was wondering about that.
Has been lacking severely throughout the years, their vision control.
Hey, they needed some time. Now they've got it.
They found out pink means win. 4 pink wards. Let's see where they place them. How good is their vision control going to be here? Can they find picks?
All right. Kikis is trying to take himself a blue, but move this time. He is way better prepared. He's got a few barrels of his own, and he's also got a smite to boot. It's going to be Exile that takes it. Move was just providing the big body to block.
Ooh, it's bold for Move to just like kind of start solo clearing that pink ward. There's Shen pressure on the bot lane. Taliyah is mid here, so Fnatic are looking to kind of fire a bullet right now, but they don't find an opening. No Tempered Fate, no Taliyah wall off. Like, Febiven does not want to go to bot lane, but somebody will be forced to. So they're sending Kikis to the bot lane, which means Febiven now has to hold the Castle in the top lane. He cannot duel this Castle, so he will lose lane priority in the bot lane.
Ooh.
And Kikis himself, he can never push out on the bot lane because of the Castle and teleport. So there's lane priority on both side lanes for the Unicorns above, which means they have control of the entire map.
Not only that, Chachi is getting fast fingers on clearing these barrels away. Kikis has had a couple pop, but not able to chain it. This is going to mean it's a 3-man Baron. Remember, this is Veritas on a 2-0-2 Tristana. 3 items right now. It's already down to 7,000.
But it's dark for the Unicorns. They don't see anything. They're face-checking brush by brush so carefully, and as this Baron goes down with 3-man look, they're approaching. They have no clue how low this Baron is. They're going to find out right about now what's going to happen next.
Field off of it. Okay, Hylissang has chased down Spirit for a second. This is going to stop it. Curtain Call opens up. They're trapped behind the wall, but Exile's jumping in, and he's got to stand united. Goes into 3. A taunt onto YellowStaR. Throws down the Tempered Fate. That just buys a moment. The Deadly Flourish comes through, but YellowStar's already gone. Veritas jumping in. He is completely untouched. Spirit, Exile has to go golden, but it doesn't matter. Veritas is cleaning house, and they shut him down, but it doesn't even matter. 4 kills to 1. Unicorns in charge.
A complete stampede by the Unicorns. Resets from Tristana. Honestly, Exile with a fantastic hourglass right there. Confusing Fnatic. Jumps in. Can they finish him? No, they can't. And then the resets came in. Veritas 1, 2, 3 jumps, I think, in that entire ordeal. But this was a good start from the Unicorns. They cleared out so much vision that Fnatic had to approach every single brush one by one. Now Kikis is trying to be a hero here, but
He's not going to get the chance. That's the ace.
The best he can do. Hopefully, he was trying to duel Exile there, but definitely worth an attempt here. But calm and collected, macro-style execution from the Unicorns off of a really passive early game. Living in the opposite world today.
Oh, absolutely. Unicorns have not looked so clean in quite some time. They pick themselves up a 30-minute Baron, 15-3 in kills, and look at how it all started.
And this is after Fnatic have already carefully face-checked 2 or 3 brushes. There was the one below, one ward of the wall, They place wards right now. Fnatic look to punish by shutting them off. But look at Rekkles right here. He's too close to Exileh, which means he has to flash out of his ultimate. Exileh is doing everything he can to deliver Shen as far forward as he can. We gotta keep tracking Veritas here, jumping into the fray, dealing damage, being uncontested. Look at how much damage he's putting out. 2 jumps because Tristana with the new E, if you explode it yourself, you get a jump reset. You don't need kills to get that jump reset, which means he's actually doing so much damage. If he wasn't dealing the brunt of that damage and played like a careful backline KDA player, Unicorns would have not won that fight.
Yeah. All the same, though, Exile's definitely starting to get in gear. I mean, he was on the front line that entire time, and he had Chachi at his back, but
he also did the phenomenal job. Just everybody of the Unicorns kind of...
They're doing what they need.
They're just saying, you know what, guys, we're going to dive in. Somebody of us is going to die. This Cassid in the mid game deals tons of damage.
Ooh, Hylissang? Okay. It's okay, he's fine. He even sticks his tongue out. A Magical Journey, and Veritas is chasing him down. He's going to hop right on over. And the Tempered Fate, not where YellowStaR wanted that one to be. But yeah, this is so good for Unicorns, seeing them kind of closing their weaknesses. We talked, we could treat moves so heavily yesterday, and in Unicorn's previous series, but he's doing exactly what he needed to.
Yeah, there was not much he could do. Like there's critique and then there's understanding. Like in this Gragas Rek'Sai matchup, if your first 2 camps get warded, you see the enemy jungler invade in your jungle and you don't feel comfortable challenging that because mid is being pushed in, and you go then to enemy blue, and enemy millionaire comes to push you off, well, sucks to be you. But like I think you tried every play that was reasonable. Unless you went for a camp skip directly into the other side, maybe he could have done that. So that's the only play that Move had left here. So he had a really rough early game, but Unicorns kind of held on. Fnatic failed to punish.
Survived, and they're looking to conquer here. Big gold lead for them. It's 10,000. They're going to knock down another outer turret. They'd already gotten close in the bottom and the top. I mean, it's just closing the jaws of the trap with the 1-3-1.
And it's also the story here of Exileh. When he does get a champion that he's comfortable in a matchup that he can survive in, yes, he got pushed in, but he never broke. They made him bend, but he never broke down here.
There you go. And
he dealt so much damage, because I was praising Veritas for jumping in and getting the resets, but looking back in hindsight, there was tremendous amounts of damage from Exileh in this fight.
Absolutely. Fnatic could do everything they can to just hold on and stop the minion wave, the Baron-empowered minions from pushing on in, but it is just nothing doing. Exileh's demanding the attention of 3 Fnatic members, and he's still going to be able to get himself an inhibitor. The inhibitor tower's fired down. Veritas keeps on sending shots that way, and now Fnatic are looking for a desperate fight here. I don't think they're going to get it, though. Chachi, he stopped up for a second. That's a big deep slap, but it's not going to be enough. Tempered Fate lands onto Veritas. It's a last-ditch effort here. Fnatic, they're crumbling to pieces in this game 1.
Yeah, inhibitors falling left, right, and center. Literally, all 3 of them are down right now. Unicorns can return happily after that Baron. Fading away right now, that buff, but it paid dividends. Honestly, very clean.
Oh, and they've got so much gold to spend. They can just go back, finish out some of their items. And Unicorns, this next push is going to be the last. Fnatic would have to make the miracle hold.
Yeah, right now we can already assume this game is like 90% over for the Unicorns, maybe 95, only 5% because we're in Europe, and this is Fnatic Unicorns, where Nexuses have
never know.
double lives. But we need to look at how we got here. And it's very similar, honestly, of Fnatic versus H2K, where there was a strategy involved from Fnatic. In that game, it was grouping up for a siege, getting the early tower and snowballing that way. And right when they were supposed to pull the trigger and get the really big advantage, they faltered. Same here, like they really had a good level advantage on Spirit. They had continuous push for Febiven. They had dive opportunities on the lanes. And now there's Kikis getting dove.
Now they're here. Kikis, they're just chasing him down. Exileh says, I want that kill, and he claims it. Looking for Spirit, he knocks him down. And the rest of Fnatic, they're falling like dominoes here. They get the barrel on in. Febiven is running all the way back to his own fountain. This is going to be one Nexus tower. Another's going to fall. Rekkles, YellowStaR, and Febiven just cannot hold the line. 35 minutes in, Unicorns will clean up, and they will take game number 1 in this best-of-5 series.
Yeah, game 1 to the Unicorns. They didn't break when Fnatic was positioning them in the mid lane, making the moves on them. But honestly, similar story for Fnatic. They could have won this game if they managed to get more picks off. With the combined roaming opportunity of that Weaver's Wall and Tempered Fate, combined with a follow-up of Curtain Call, there should have been a situation where Fnatic put all those puzzle pieces together and solved it. But they failed to really get it. And it's hard because there's always a Stand United and a Shenalty. And like, yes, there's excuses, but if you draft this composition where your entirely early game is based around pushing in mid, roaming with the jungle, you need to break that bot lane. Like, they can't be allowed to survive with a melee support and They got close to finish off the turret and going for the dive, but I think they hesitated. They were afraid of the Stand United despite having Cannon Barrage, and I think that is the main phase of the game where the Unicorns, once they got past that point, they got those picks in